This is the Marmalade Spread.
Be the bigger person for once, just figure it out. We've both been triggered. How did you shut down? So done wasting my precious time, a happy vibe. You run, I'm done chasing.
I saw myself inside another state. Don't think I'll see you at the current rate. I'm on that shit, I got a lot to say. Now when I see you, it's just another day.
You always have so much to say, huh? But you're quiet. Did I catch you on a bad day? Or are you lying? You're scared I get it? Yeah, it's fine, but the time's up. Never mind us. A reminder to maybe grow a spine and be kind.
I can't afford nobody's on me. I can never see you wake up. It's always 'cause of me. I can't afford nobody's on me. I can never see you wake up. It's always 'cause of me. Never see you wake up. It's always 'cause of me. I didn't mean to tell you plans. I was trying to tell you something. Wouldn't come and say I'm into your say. Pretty sure you get us a lot, yeah. I'm just in chaos, yeah. I'm pretty sure I lost, yeah. Nigga, don't touch me, I'll make it sing. Got the cross on me, also got a team. Not a lot lost on me.
Count to 5, you take a breath. Open your eyes, a sudden death. It's all changed, it's all gone. We fucked up, we did wrong. It's over, so
I
long.
can't afford nobody's on me. I can never see you wake up. It's always 'cause of me. I can't afford nobody's on me. I can never see you wake up. It's always 'cause of me.
Nobody's holding me. I could never see the way through. It's always 'cause of me. I can't fall. Nobody's holding me. I could never see the way through. It's always 'cause of me.
I can't afford nobody's on me. I can never see you wake up. It's always 'cause of me. I can't afford nobody's on me. I can never see you wake up. It's always 'cause of me. It's only 'cause of me.
And that was Fall by Honeymoon, and they are a band that I've been a fan of for a little while now. Been chatting with them about some certain things that they've been up to. Kind of took a nice little pause of music, I think, for a little while, and this is their first song back in quite a bit of time. I just love the vibrancy that they bring to the table. They're from South Africa. They've kind of relocated over to London, but they're kind of back and forth between SA and London. And I just think it has such a vibe of like what a Southern Hemisphere kind of party environment kind of be, but also you got this like element of crafting current commercial music and London scene and where that pop element's going. So this just came out recently, and I just thought it would be a really good track to kind of start off the conversation. But I'm here today with Yasin, who we've met quite a few different moments of time, but every time we're together, it's always a fun little vibe of chatting and hearing what's going on, and it's usually environments where it's either some type of celebration or some type of just gathering of people in the music industry. And every time that we've chatted and like you've told me what's been going on, we've either run into some celebrity of some sort that's been in there or C-list celebrity or whatever it is, and we just keep hanging out. And I think that that's just a testament of like we keep being in the same circles of someone where I feel like you're doing such incredible work that nobody really sees, but you keep showing up to all these different places and just saying, hey, we're doing shit, we're doing stuff, pay attention here, but also we don't care if you don't really pay attention, because we're going to do this shit no matter what. And I just think that's what you emulate in so many ways. So I appreciate you being here today, coming all the way down from Leicester.
No, thank you. Thanks for having me. And that's exactly right. You know, I kind of feel like for me, it's just build it. And then, you know, they'll say build it and they will come. So we put that to the test. And, you know, worst case, no one comes. We're going to be having fun. We're going to be making good music, you know. So, and yeah, we ain't trying to worry too much. We just want to do it, you know, and see how far we can take it.
Well, everyone talks about like London being the headquarters of so much music, and then you go out to other places and there's like, oh, we'll go to Manchester. That's like a big city. There's probably a lot of artists that want to go there. And then if you want to go up to Scotland, maybe it's Edinburgh, that you have like this more Scottish kind of vibe. Glasgow's got this more like punk kind of feel where it's like stick it to the man. But then you go and look at all these different scenes, and not everyone talks about Leicester in every which way. And I think you've built a community of HQ Familia, and it's got so much about the music. Like, your entity is about recordings. Your entity is about like distributing music out to people so they can hear what's going on in Leicester and what it actually is. And was that the ethos when you started the company, and that it's larger than just like a community where we just distribute music and that's it, but it's much more bigger than that?
Yeah, well, it's weird because, to be honest, a lot of everything I've done has not been planned as per se. You know, it's kind of, I started off with a community music project and like a laptop, couple of speakers, and going into like community settings. So there was never really this thing then. Like back then it was still built around community, because it was like all my mates were in music, and it's like, okay, well, no one's earning that much money and there's no one teaching adults music. So maybe we can do that. That can be our USB, and at least you can get paid to teach your skills. So it was, first off, it was about a business I could actually start with no money, because I managed to get like some funding. It was a community interest company, so it was a way of starting a business in music. But I never really, at that point, we weren't dreaming about releasing music or trying to start a scene or any of that stuff. You know, it was just, okay, we're going to teach people music. And then it was like, okay, we'll teach people music, we'll put an event on for them to show the skills and the songs are made. And then we did that, and it was great. We did it again, and then we're like, okay, well, maybe we need a studio now. So then we got a studio, and I also got a nightclub at the same time, so we could do the events and stuff. And I was doing them both for quite a lot of years, but it was a bit too much. It was trying like 2 full-time jobs and trying to have a life. So it was a bit too
there's
much.
no in between.
There's no in between. So it was full on. So I ended up selling the lease to the nightclub onto a friend who, his dream was to own a venue. It definitely weren't my dream. And so he took it on, but then I realized like some of the talent at the studio was really high, and I was like, wait, what's everyone do with this music when you made it? They're like, oh yeah, just like YouTube or Spotify, SoundCloud. And I was like, well, there's no money in that. How do you get paid from it? It's like, oh, well, basically we don't, most of them.
Yeah.
So I kind of just realized that, I don't know, I thought I need to learn where the money is and actually try and help some people get some of it, because I see there's so much talent in my city, and it was just never really, you know, turning into money. It was never turning into careers. It was always like some of the best people in our city, they've got jobs, you know what I mean? And the people who do really good, by the time they smash it, then they're kind of gone, you know, they elevate past Leicester, you know, and then you don't really see them no more anyway. So they're from Leicester, but they're not part of that scene, do you know what I mean? So I think for me, it was about, okay, well, I'll learn it, I'll teach it you, let's kind of build this collective, and we can all kind of just learn it as we go, basically, you know. We'll have a go, see where it takes us, and that's kind of how it started. And it's just got a little bit more serious each year, and you know, obviously it's still fun, and we still want to keep that vibe and that indie vibe, you know, but we also want to, you know, every year make it the business a little bit tighter so that we can you know, I suppose get to the next level.
And how many years have you been building this now for?
So I've had my studio for 15 years now. So HQ is like 15 years. The label was 2017. I think we put our first release out. So about 9 years.
And you feel like every year you're just learning something new each time, trying to find ways to get it out.
Yeah, and I think whenever you think you know it all, something changes and you realise you don't, or a question will come up, and, oh, actually, I'm not sure about that, you know, and yeah, it's an ever-changing landscape, isn't it? So it's kind of like, yeah, it's about, I think for me, it's about trying to learn as much as we can, but also trying to build as many relationships as possible, and just to be, I think for me, I'm quite a lot, I like to be really busy and really prolific, you know, just so it's just non-stop, you know, so we don't get a chance to, so we have a little chance to celebrate the wins, but we also don't have much time to dwell on any of the, you know, the, not the losses, but the things that don't necessarily go your way, or don't do as well as you would like them to do.
It's hard to differentiate sometimes, where you're like, should we be in this moment of celebration, of happiness? We worked so hard to get there, and there's probably so many indirect things that came together in order to be able to create those moments of like real triumph and growth in those ways. But also it's the hustle mentality that it seems like you've always had, where there's always just more and more and more that we can do to be able to get more out there, and it feels like it is your mission to just get that consistently out, those people or those stories and those artists, to be able to get that creative out there. How did it start for you? Were you always like this, like when you were young? What was your like upbringing like? When did music come into play into when you were young?
So to be honest, like I was always a hustler, but like growing up, like I had quite a rough upbringing, you know. We grew up in quite a rough area, single parent family, you know. We grew up around a lot of drug addicts and criminals, and you know, like it wasn't necessarily bad, especially like back then, you know, 'cause we didn't know anything different anyway. But it was a bit gangster. It was a little bit ghetto compared to what, like, I suppose a lot of my other friends experienced and their upbringings, you know. So and I think I grew up, like I grew up in a really multicultural area for my first 8 years of my life, which was just normal. But then when I was 8, we moved to an area and it was really predominantly white. It was quite racist, you know. There was a lot of BMP and NF and stuff like that in them times, and so that was a big change moving to that area. And I think, I don't know, I think I got a bit of a chip on my shoulder about, because even though I'm a white boy, you know, like my name's Yasin El Ashrafi, I'm half Egyptian, I've got 5 black sisters, you know, so we got quite a lot of hassle on the estate. So, but I kind of went a bit bad because of that, you know. And it was like I never had anyone older, so you know, like I was basically fighting all the time, just, you know, because people were trying to bully us. So I'd end up fighting everybody, and I kind of, it's weird because I was into football, I was into gaming and stuff. I always loved music. My mum was big on music. I remember she had stacks and stacks and stacks of Greensleeves records, and she would listen to reggae, she would listen to pop, she would listen to dancehall. Her thing was really, she was really eclectic in her taste, you know. So we became eclectic as well, because we was also kind of between different communities as well, you know, like people differently. Like we grew up on a lot of black music, but we also grew up on all types of stuff depending on who you was with. So yeah, it's kind of, I think that led me, like I say, to have a bit of chip on my shoulder. So I ended up getting kicked out of school, and I was getting in trouble with the police and stuff like that. So, and then I remember I think I was 14, and I found drugs, to be honest, and that was like my escape. So I was like smoking loads of weed and then doing other bits and bobs, and then we started raving, and all of a sudden that was like another massive game change, you know, like peace, love, unity, ecstasy, you know, music, all this kind of stuff. But at the same time, I also got into harder drugs. So I used to go raving and stuff, but then I used to smoke heroin to come down on, and then I ended up getting into that. So I won't say wasted, but I was in this drug bubble for quite a long time, maybe nearly a decade. And when I came out of it, was basically, I was already kind of getting my life together. I had a job and stuff now. I was kind of still dabbling, bitting and bobbing, but I was kind of on the road to recovery. I got my girlfriend pregnant. She was going to be, basically that's it, I'm going to be a dad. So everything just changed instantly overnight, from live fast, die young, you know, like, to actually, I want to, now I've got someone who I want to make proud, you know. So it's kind of, my mindset just kind of switched. But when he was born with the cord around his neck, so he's got severe cerebral palsy. I ended up losing my job to look at looking after him. It was a really crazy time. And then basically I just realized I needed to be my own boss, because I need to be able to pick and choose my hours, so that I don't, you know, like no one can tell me I can't take my son to an appointment, you know what I mean? It's like, I've got to do whatever I've got to do. So I decided to start a business around my friends, but because what I did, I looked at, when I was young, I was on a music project, and I never stayed in music because I went down the other road. But all my mates who didn't go down that same road, when I got clean, I went back to them, and I was like, they're all still there now. One of them's an engineer, one of them's a DJ, one of them's a producer. They've got a sound system. So I got back in with them because they were my old mates, and I was like, look, I've got a business idea. I want to build it around you lot. Like, you lot have got the talent, but you probably need someone behind you, you know, like to do the business.
Yeah. So
I started the business, and I did the funding bids, and, you know, kind of got the equipment, and I drive everybody, I do the recruitment. So then it turned out basically I'd do everything other than the music. So, and that was how it started. And then I was I suppose I kind of treat myself like a facilitator / middleman, you know, so, or a dot connector, whatever you want it to be. But I kind of realizing, okay, so you're good, but you're missing that, you know. I started realizing, okay, you need a producer, you need a guitarist, you need, you know, and then kind of just started, it's just, I suppose, snowballed from there. So that's how it all started.
It's building that network over and over, and it's just because you were in the scene so much, just in general. You're around the city, you're around people, they're like, oh, I could help them, I could do this, I could do that, I could figure out those ways. And you probably had to say yes quite a bit of times, and you had no idea what you were doing, and just tried to figure it out because you wanted to bring value, it seems like, to these guys in those ways. And you had said, I mean, very like nonchalantly, like there's some things you got to do in the back end to be able to help these talent to be able to go out there. There is millions of things that you need to do to be able to help these guys out, to help people out, to help creatives out, to be able to, from a day-to-day basis, just in like what they're carrying and what they're doing, to actually implementing some structure and logistics around those things, which is no one talks about, like how much in between there was. And I bet you for you, that's just countless over and over again on like, you just stepped up and did those things because you found an opportunity, you found a gap that needed to be filled.
Yeah, no, I'll be honest, like, when I started as well, like, I was telling my mum, like, I was looking at the company setup, I was like, community interest company directors can get up to 50 grand a year. Like, and my mum was like, look, stop talking about money, you'll piss it up the wall. Whatever you get, you'll piss up the wall, because I know how you are. She goes, but when you talk, people will listen, she says, and if you help some people, that especially like us, like, you know, like, and this is my thing is not just, obviously I want to help anybody, but the passion behind it is specifically working class and diverse, you know, like people like us, people who haven't got backing, you know, we've not got finances, we've not got opportunity necessarily. So it's like, well, if I was in my late 20s when I got my shit together, how many other people are like that, and you've never had a chance? It's like you're supposed to have your life figured out by the time you're an adult. Like our brains ain't even finished developing till we're 25, but we're supposed to have it all figured out. And I'm like, well, loads of people, and I was written off, you know, people like, yeah, once a drug addict, always a drug addict, or once a thief, always a thief. And I'm like, no, that's complete bullshit, you know, like, I'm recovered, I'm not recovering, I'm recovered. And I know it's been a long time now, and it will never go back. So for me, it was also about, I'm gonna kind of, it's how helping people also helps me, you know, like, so the more, you know, like, I've evolved loads over the years just off the back of my work, and every time I help somebody, that helps me, and it helps improve my confidence and my well-being as well, you know. But it's, who else is going to help those people? So kind of, it does, to me, it's like a mission, you know. It's not money driven, but I do want to be a millionaire. I will be a millionaire by the time I retire, because that's what we're doing, that's the vision, that's what we're manifesting, that's what we're working towards every day, you know what I mean? But for me, it's about to show them as well, like, look, we can do it, even if we're, just because we're from the estate, or just because we ain't got no backing, it don't mean we can't do it. Like, well, first we've got to believe we can do it, then we've got to learn how to do it, and then we've got to do it. So it's tough, but it's cool as well. It's like, it's a great thing to do.
It's so interesting to hear your journey of where you've gotten to the point where music was always a part of your life, but yet it actually wasn't your lifestyle until like years down the line, in which you probably could go back to it and say, fuck, if I, like, music's always been a part of what I've been doing, it just wasn't front and center. Didn't realize that until it actually is something that spoke to you in so many ways. And I feel like what you've shared there is just the educational side of things, of understanding those pieces. And that's what it feels like a lot of what what you've built now in Leicester is that it's a community of education and being able to teach young kids, but also people that are at whatever level of age that they're at, having to teach them to be able to grow. And you're probably learning, as you said, as much as they're learning in certain ways to be able to build on those things.
Yeah, for sure. And I remember, like, when I was a kid, no one was really trying to teach us music. You know, like, I think we did, I don't know, recorder and choir or something. You know, like, it was dead at school. And then I think we had maybe some people came and did some music stuff with us in the youth club, and that we got into, you know, like, but, you know, no one really taught us necessarily about how to write bars, you know, so we was just spitting other people's bars, you know, and then, like, eventually then I learned to DJ a bit, and then I was DJ Freaks. Basically, my program was replication of a program for 15-year-olds. So I did that project when I was a kid, and then I went to that business, and I said, well, who does what you do for adults? It was like, no one. I was like, I'm going to do it. They was like, well, that's sick. So then we became their kind of springboard as well. So their best people they work with now, they would then send them to us. You know, so it actually also, it was kind of, again, I felt like everyone's dealing in artist development or teaching, but no one's really thinking about the end goal of, like, what is it you really want to do. So I always start this, like, anyone I mentor, the first question is, like, what's the dream? Yeah. You know, like, what are you working towards? Because then we can reverse engineer it. You know, so we're starting here. Yes. You might not get there, but bare minimum, we're going to get a great portfolio, and you're going to learn some stuff. Best case scenario, we'll go all the way together, and then there's all the variables in between, you know, man. So that's kind of the plan. Just keep working with people, keep developing, keep making as much music as possible. And I kind of feel like the thing with music is, when something hits, then it hits, you know. So it's kind of like, you know, we're prepared to go on that long journey, 10, 15. I put myself on a 20-year plan, so it was always going to be, you know, I wasn't expecting it overnight, you know what I mean? Yeah. I was expecting to have earned more money by now. But that don't matter.
Always can dream,
That's the final piece of the puzzle, right? That'll come last. That's fine.
And the funny thing, it will come. It will come, and you won't even expect it. It's going to come in directly when you don't even realize that it's actually going to be there.
It's definitely coming, so yeah.
I love that. I love that you have almost taken something that already exists, and you're now building into the next phase of what that is, because when you just said what's the long-term goal and how you work back from those things, everyone can't even fathom what the first big step is, let alone, like, really wanting to be able to get out to the bigger operation of, let's say everyone wants to play Wembley if they're based in the UK. Oh, Wembley. Well, is that actually the thing that really cultivates an exciting piece of music that they want to be able to do? And if you're 10, 11, 12 years old, you believe in superheroes still, right? Yeah. And, like, that you can be that. And it does look that way. It just looks different in the actual day-to-day life of certain things. So it's really great that you break that down with them when they're more sitting in the adult phase of things, because that's its responsibility. Now you have responsibility as a person to be able to go and enrich. And if you don't have these guardrails around you to be able to feel like you can fall and you're being caught or at least supported, it's really difficult to be able to feel free to try new things and to be able to develop those different pieces. So I want to get into our next track here, because this kind of segues into this artist. Her name is Lynx. She's originally from the East Coast in the U.S., in Pennsylvania, but she moved up to Brooklyn in New York, and I've kind of followed her story throughout time, and, like, every once in a while just checked in with her because I've been a big fan of what she's been doing. She moved up to Brooklyn and thinking that was her environment to be able to grow and explore what her artist project was. I think she played in a few other bands, and she was trying to explore how to be able to turn that into her own artist project or more. Well, it took her some time to be able to see that actually New York wasn't her base. She flew out to LA, it seemed like on a whim, to be able to just try something new. She connected with a producer out there that became a mentor of hers. This is from me just seeing this online. I've not actually heard the story directly from her, but it definitely feels like over the last few years, she has developed her sound as an artist, but also now as a female producer, and understanding that she can help carve out and create with other artists what their vision is. And I can see that she's done that because of mentors in her life. And now you're starting to see that her music is streaming really, really well, connecting with different audiences. She's been on tour a handful of times. And like, the US is a massive, massive market. For you to be able to do that and steadily grow, it feels like she's taking each step really cautiously, but also gung-ho in a lot of ways. So this song is called Purple Light. It's on her EP that's just out right now. It just was released not too long ago. So we'll get into that now, and hopefully links can be a nice little inspiration for some younger female artists that are artists, producers. You can wear many hats. All you have to do is just keep persisting and keep growing. So please enjoy Purple Light by Lynx.
Our streets all paved, ivy covers the house. Mom moved away, Dad knows how to garden now. Forward my mail, losing sleep with strangers. Convince myself that this is just how it ends when you're 20 nothing. Gone through enough of this already. So every night I lay awake and wait for the purple light, 'cause it's all the same and nobody stays. Everything made by design. Ignore all these tears, swear I'm trying my best to get through this. Time of my life. It's all the same and nobody stays. Everything made by design. Ignore all these tears, swear I'm trying my best to get through this. Time of my life. Every day, always the same. There's always something. Blow up my phone, live on the floor, make it to August. Ignore all these tears, swear I'm trying my best to get through this. Time of my
Deixa a bunda no alto, 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 fica a bunda no alto, deixa a bunda no alto, fica a bunda no alto. A velocidade.
She's hot, she's so pretty, freak like me, and a tad bit silly. Cool as a breeze that has you chilly, and smooth like a move from a dancing chili. Whoa, you wanna take it slow? No, I'm aging, bro. Oh, you wanna take it slow? No, I'm aging, bro. Hypnotized by your hips and thighs. If a rise or a gem, that be kryptonite. Misty nights turn bright when this chick arrives. If I thrive with a smile, then I hit up a line like, baby girl, I feel lonely now. Can put your arms around my shoulders now and tell me everything's gonna be alright. Yeah, but it is when I hear her open her mouth, cause I know how you like it. Stroking her back like I'm stroking a tigress. Pretty little thing with a mind so vibrant. Tickling her chin till her eyes start smiling. And I'm content when her head's on my chest and I rest on her bed. If we ain't getting high, then we're resting instead. So she lying on her back with her legs around my neck like, whoa, you wanna take it slow? No, I'm aging, bro. Oh, you wanna take it slow? No, I'm aging, bro.
I see the ocean, I see the way it moves, the constellation, I see the path I choose, I see the vapor, the gateway, the wrong, not the right place. It's only then I realise, cause you always win, cause you always win.
So this word called love, what does it mean? What is it? It does. Understanding the figure, the suffer of loss. There's a mountain of figures when breathing a touch. No way can I do this, makes me lose it. Playing this game, I'm straight up useless. Sitting there wondering why I ain't got the game like Cupid. Drop on me, go take a chill for a sec. This ain't no Shakespeare, this ain't no film set. Made just stay clear and aim for success. Be patient, sit beer, stay away from the stress. But she's something like that forbidden fruit. Man, I'm trying, but I'm dying for a little mooch. Dying for a kiss or two. We can dine in the light of the lit up moon, ignite the mood. What a creature, every feature sold out fine. I'll say it on speaker. What kind of guy would be fine to release you? This ain't the one-time thing, no teaser, breather. Can I have one breather? Chest bumping up like a puffed on sativa. Whenever we're touching, I sweat like my love, and she telling me something, but there's just me mumbling like, whoa, you wanna take it slow? No, I'm aging, bro. Oh, you wanna take it slow? No, I'm aging, bro.
I see the ocean, I see the way it moves, the constellation, I see the path I choose, I see the vapor, the gateway, the wrong, not the right place. It's only then I realise, cause you always win, cause you always win.
That was you, Charlie Giorgio and Josh Nota. So these guys, they just met. They're friends for a while, but then you just brought them in the studio and they're like, okay, cool. I think we can make a song together. And you met them and you're like, whoa, they got some talent. Let's actually like turn that into a reality.
Yeah, so basically, Charlie's cousin Harry, he's like one of my like main engineers. So he's been with me he's been with me about 12, 13 years. But he came to me like kind of like fresh out of uni. He came to be a sound engineer, but he's a producer and an artist as well. He's actually on one of the songs later on. But yeah, Charlie was just like his little cousin, and Josh was Charlie's mate. And because we was always doing events and stuff, they used to come down to Leicester quite a lot, and they'd come and chill at the studio and that. And like I knew Charlie like did a little bit of kind of like rapping here and there, but not like taking it serious though. Just like, you know, when people are drunk at parties and stuff, you know, like a party trick.
Yeah.
And it's like, it was just like that. And then all of a sudden they decided to actually do a session, and he brought his mate Josh. And I never even knew Josh could sing, you know, like, I don't think I've ever sing it. I've never heard him on anything other than this one song. Like,
really?
Yeah, we tried to get him back in a few times, but I think, you know, like, it went, some people have got all the talent, but it's not necessarily their calling, you know, like, he's just working, he's happy working, doing what he's doing, getting the money and going out and having a beer and stuff, you know what I mean? Yeah. So, yeah, when we heard it, I was just shocked of how good it was, you know, like, it weren't all bit. I think this is the only track on the EP that we didn't produce the beat, because they bought this beat. I think it was just a YouTube beat, but it just worked so nice. And usually what we used to do is if someone writes to a beat, we'll get rid of the beat and we'll craft something else. And I think we tried about 4 or 5 other things and nothing hit the same. So it was like, you know what, let's not try and like, we're trying too hard here. Let's just chuck it out there, you know what I mean?
It was good.
It was good.
Don't mess with it after that.
I was overthinking it. And that's because, you know, like again, not, you know, because it's still early, you know, people say, oh yeah, you need this and you need that, and own all your music and have all the rights. And, you know, we didn't necessarily want like a YouTube contract beat, you know what I mean? But on the flip side, the beat worked, you know. So, and to be honest, it never went on to do big numbers that meant there was big money to split anyway. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of like the stuff that we was worried about didn't come to fruition anyway. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, actually, let's just enjoy it. You know what I mean?
Well, you're still enjoying it. It seems.
And I still am enjoying it now. Yeah, when it, like sometimes I forget about it, you know, and then it just come up on one of the playlists. I'm like, turn it up.
I like that. Well, hopefully everyone else felt that too. So this was released on an actual album that had a bunch of different songs. Did you used to do these regularly as a label studio and stuff, where you would have a bunch of these tracks and you just release these projects with a bunch of different artists on there?
Yeah, so that was the plan. So basically this was more like our introduction, you know, like so because we was a collective, we thought, well, let's, rather than just put a release out from one of the artists, let's do a little compilation. So we just called it HQF 001, so it's just to mark our first release, and we had 5 different tracks from loads of different artists and producers. So it's kind of like a little compilation, a little introduction into what we'd been doing and who we'd been working with.
Nice.
We did do another one, which was, I think, HQ Familia and Friends. The idea was we was going to keep doing compilations, but then I'll be honest, you know, over the years, like, different members come and go, and then some people you focus more on want to go singles. So it kind of, the compilation style kind of fizzled out, and then we started just going into singles and EPs for the individual artists. But I think in the beginning it just made sense because we had all these different tracks, didn't really know what to do with them, so we shook them all together. And we got some CDs printed, and you know, we put them on USBs and stuff as well. So nice. It was kind of like it was a promotional thing as well, you know, kind of to mark our entrance.
Well, to have your name next to that with other artists, it must be kind of nice, because especially for Josh, he was a one-time kind of guy.
Yeah.
Literally, you had one chance ever. Maybe he'll make a resurgence one day, but being able to be featured around some of these other artists and stuff like that, it doesn't feel like all the weight is on that one person's shoulders to say, this is my single or this is my project. They can feel like they're with other people, and they actually feel like, oh, this is bigger than what it is. Almost like what people used to do when they burned CDs, where it's like, this track, this track, this track. These are playlists now. Yeah. You made a playlist ahead of time for songs that you crafted throughout the time. And that must be speaking a lot into, were you A&Ring pretty much everything that was going through?
Yeah, so basically it's a weird one. It kind of feels like everyone who works with me is a musician or an artist or producer or an engineer. Mm-hmm. So some of the talent are the people that actually work like with me as freelancers. And then some of the other talent is people that have come through the community project. So a lot of people, though, most of the people I've worked with, they've come onto one of my projects either because they've been unemployed, or they've been, I don't know, they're a graduate, or they're just someone local needing some help. So most of my projects were aimed at people who maybe didn't have money to pay for studio, so you can't afford to pay for it, but we've got a project, you can get it for free. And some of the people were just that good when the project ran out, because there's not a lot of funding. So a lot of the time you'd only get funded to work with someone for 7 or 8 weeks. You know? So, but then if they were really good and they were enthusiastic and they was talented, I basically would say, well, look, I've not got no money to work with you anymore, but if you want to keep working with us, we'll create like a little deal where I'll put you on like a artist development / management kind of deal for a couple of years. Yeah. We'll spend 1 year making loads of music, trying to find your sound. We'll spend 1 year releasing music, trying to get gigs, and then we'll look at it again after that, you know. So a lot of it was people who had been through the community projects.
Wow. It's simple. You've just like boiled that down to simplicity. As someone who wants to learn about the music situation, They can go on the internet and go and see some of the biggest artists in the world, and they're like, all right, I want that. But then you see all the different pieces where everyone goes, well, all your rights are taken, everything's taken. And you just focus on the community side of things where you just want to be able to help out in those ways. But if you don't have structure, it definitely feels like structure is a big piece of what you're doing now. If you can develop some type of structure, they're just committing to 2 years. And if they leave in those 2 years, well, then they haven't completed the program, and which you were like, well, they didn't get through what I was tasked out to. But then after those 2 years, I can imagine if you're wanting to work with them, that's an easy next step for you to be able to help foster the next phase of where things are at. Have you been doing that for a while? Has that structure always been in place for a while?
Yeah.
And
so
what kind of came about, the starting blocks for that?
Yes, that started off from 20... Actually, Charlie was part of this as well, actually, because when Charlie come in, obviously, not only can he rap in it, but he looks like a model. He's a he's a good looking boy. We used to call him Showbiz Boy. And I signed him to the label, and I think it was the first or the second sign-in. But then I actually realized that my label wasn't really big enough to be signing artists, you know, like we've got resources, but we've not got budget, do you know what I mean? So it was kind of that made me realize actually maybe I'm overselling what I'm doing, you know? So I thought, well, maybe what I need to do is say I'll work with you on like a more of a management development deal, just so people are not thinking, well, I'm signed to a record label. Like, why am I not flying? It's like, well, I'm a tiny label with no money and no backing. Like, come on. So it was kind of a way of it takes the pressure off. So ever since then, I've never signed anybody to the label. So people release through the label. The label's like a release mechanism. So we'll work on developing the music. If we've got a bigger label than mine to put it on, we'll put it on. I'd rather have 20% of a bigger pie than 50% of the HQ Familia pie. Do you know what I mean? So for me, it's not about, but it's also that, well, if I'm going to be investing all this time and resource, well, unless you're putting some money in the pot, then I'm going to be owning the masters. So I do it in that way. So I take 50% of the music on the label. Obviously, I don't take 20% management. So I don't double dip on both sides. But some of the artists I manage release on a few different labels. Some are solely on HQ. I've got one who's we've got like a joint venture, and we've kind of got a little label between us, you know. So it's kind of like whatever makes sense, but I just try and keep it in a way where it's as little pressure as possible, you know. So I'm telling them, like, look, we sign a contract for the singles, and we sign like this 2-year management thing. But when we sign it, I let them know, like, look, this is so we've got it all in black and white, but this is also a relationship. If you don't want to work with me, I'll rip this up tomorrow, the next day, you know. It's not about kind of locking them in. It's more about this is so you feel like it's business and you value it, and so that we're on the same page and we're agreeing to check in at this point and this point and this point. But yeah, it was just to make it, I suppose, loose enough for me that, you know, I'm not promising the world, but also loose enough for them to know that they can just get out of it. You know, and a lot of people do. More people are gonna give up, or they're gonna move on than people who are gonna go all the way. You know what I mean? So it's about
way more.
It's not Premier League football statistics.
So
you know what I mean? It's hardest industry in the world, right? So we kind of know that. So we're trying to. I suppose a lot of it is 50% music and 50%. We're trying to work on people's character and mindset and I suppose all of the other stuff that they're going to need, because the talent ain't going to get them there alone. So
it is that hard work. And I think the piece of paper, which I love that you've just established as, that's just saying that you're committed to this, because it can be a hobby until that moment. But this piece of paper shows you're committed, they're committed, they want to do this thing, and it's for a year, 2 years, whatever it is. If they can't see further than that, well, then it is a hobby. It is something that they shouldn't be involved with. But I do think, like, the younger kids now, it's all about flexibility. How can they have more and more flexibility? Why is flexibility the most important thing to all of them? Because they think everyone's taking from them. When in reality, those are just the people that they see online. that have been screwed over, and it's usually because they got into a shit deal in the first place,
Yeah.
and it was presented as a shit deal, but they decided to ignore it, or they decided this, that, and the other. And I feel like because you're in that community, it's not just people vouching for you, it's actually you're the one stepping up to share those things, and that's difficult in its own, because if you want to commit to somebody, you can commit to anybody. To be able to say, I'm going to work with you on this, I'm going to work with you on this, but to be able to say that to somebody, it means you actually want to be able to grow and facilitate those things.
Yeah, for sure. And like some people, you know, like they don't even get past the first year. Some people they're with me 7, 8, 9 years later, you know. So it's not, yeah, like for us, it's never a pressure thing, you know, because this is, again, it's all people, you know.
Yeah.
So every situation, every artist I work with, I would say that they've at least got the talent to have a career in music. It's not like every single artist I work with, I'm like, you're the next thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there's moments of that, okay, you know, like this is something special. And then there's also moments of, okay, we can work with this. You've definitely got enough to have like a sustainable career and do well, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's hard. It's hard to be able to feel that and also be consistently every day choosing that you want to be able to do these things. And you got to choose those things every day to be able to step up as an artist as well. And it's tough when you're creating art. So this next song is called Friday. It's by a few different people on here. Who is this? Who are these guys? What is this song? How have you connected to them?
So this one is called Friday, and this was the people on this. This was the first, I'd say, the first full EP, like body of work that we made. You know, where we actually sat down. We decided we wanted to do like a 5 or 6 track EP. You know, we wanted to bring in instrumentalists, and you just went a bit deeper. It was the first time we went deeper. You know, so it was the producers were 2 producers that were working with me that come from university and you know got their kind of first time working in a studio with us at HQ. It was Low Pass Luke and Manis Cooler, and they were both really good producers. I think it was the first time they got to work on a big project together as well. And they kind of shared the same sound, so it made sense. And then we got Jafro. Jafro is a grime MC and hip hop, but he also sings as well, and I really liked his singing, so we decided to go down, which I think this is the only body of work he's got that's not grime but quite energetic. But this is just butter, and they also, this EP off the back of it, you know, like I took it to pitch it to Columbia Records, and you know we had a lot of people getting hyped and, you know, coming to try and get it. So we didn't actually sign it in the end, but it was very close to, and you know, it was weird because part of me wanted to sign it to Sony and part of me wanted to keep it as a jewel in the crown, you know, so it was a weird one. So we kept it in the end, and it's still a banger now.
That first bit of you crafting that into a project must mean a lot. So I'm excited for this, and for Jafra, for this to be a specifically different kind of project. It's pretty cool. I'm trying to push the envelope, do something different each time.
Exactly.
I love that. Well, please enjoy Friday.
Shadu, shadu, bidu, bidu, shadu, shadu, bidu, shadu, bidu, bidu, shadu, shadu, bidu, shadu, bidu, bidu, shadu, shadu, bidu, shadu, bidu, bidu. Them man say they're blacked out. I don't care if I know, cause them man want that skirt. I prefer a chauffeur. Only time we black out is when them lights get blacked out. And when them lights get blacked out, you already know, cause she throw it where we sleep, or throw it on that sofa, throw it till she weak at them knees. She a soldier, and she hates that I ain't got much time, but she knows I can change that sofa to a throne. Oh, and I'm ultra nice with this saucy vibe, you can call me Heinz. Provide the right vibe, king size, so you can call me your highness. Look, I read that Songs of Solomon book. I know I do you like Solomon Wood, so I might just give you King Solomon Wood. Cause you deserve a king, you keep my head straight. There's a million different things in my headspace. I guess that I'ma have these issues till I'm dead weight. I'm forever wishing I could be there in a sec, babe. Wow.
too much gang is happening. There's too much gang is happening. There's too much this is happening. There's too much that is happening. I just want a quiet Friday night with ya. I don't wanna fight with ya, I just wanna keep it nice with ya. I just want a quiet Friday night with ya. I don't wanna fight with ya, I just wanna keep it nice with ya. With ya, yeah. With ya, with ya, yeah. Yeah. There ain't never been much love for these streets, babe. It's cold out here, I miss them sheets, babe. Till I'm back, just keep me on replay. Replay, play. I know exactly what she hates, yeah. I'm here then I'm gone again. I just wanna drop a tape and make enough money to run away to a foreign place on holiday. But don't you worry, babe, cause I'm coming, babe. Turn your sleeping chamber to a working place. I'm gonna have you moaning, but you ain't complain. Cause we comfy, babe, so much gang is running through my headphones. No love being played on my radio. Late nights working at my desk, bruise my elbows. Make sure them lights are blacked out for when I get home. There's too much gang is happening. There's too much gang is happening. There's too much this is happening. There's too much that is happening. I just want a quiet Friday night with ya. I don't wanna fight with ya, I just wanna keep it nice with ya. I just want a quiet Friday night with ya. I don't wanna fight with ya, I just wanna keep it nice with ya. With ya, yeah. With ya, yeah, yeah. Baby, I just want a quiet Friday night with ya. Shadoo, shadoo, be-doo, be-doo, shadoo, shadoo, do-do-do-do-do-do. Baby, I don't wanna fight with you, I just wanna fight with you. Shadoo, shadoo, be-doo, be-doo,
play so hard to get, keep running for the chase, so I make him sweat. Getting cold like the internet, we thinking like alphabet. A, B, C, D, spell it out for me. Starting to think for the wrong reasons we met. Cause you got my happiness in there, second guessing if me and you I regret. I ain't trying to play, can we please come correct? I think I deserve that much respect. I'm just trying to stay one step ahead, cause I don't wanna feel your after effect. Minds work this way. Why is it that our minds work this way? Our minds work this way. Yeah.
Yeah, look. Do you like me, or are you playing hard to get? This house of games, yeah, you must be the architect. And your decisions, they're just something that I can't affect. But your feelings, that's just something I can't neglect. When I say it, wanna feel it with my heart and chest. If you don't, then you don't. At least I can be calm and rest. I'll be honest, yo, I'll be frank about it. If you put your hand out halfway, no, I'd put my hand around it. Don't think that I could last without it. If it's no, put the laggy bands around it. Put it back down where I found it. And that's the way it has to be. Can for you, but can you for me? I ain't playing dumb or acting stupid. Trust is what it has to do with. Really don't know what I'm doing. Can't spell us without the U in. And the way that time is moving, I need something time consuming. I ain't saying it's time to move in, or it's time for wife and grooming. Games that we play. If you felt, I wouldn't mind saving the day. Always on my mind, you're the name that I'd say. But it's games that we play.
Well, that is Games by Morgan Monroe and Kamikaze. Who is this? What does this track mean to you?
So this track, so in Leicester, like when I came up, there was like Morgan Monroe was kind of like the singer, you know, like there's Mahalia, who was kind of a little bit before her, who everybody knows, but Morgan was kind of like the singer on the scene who's kind of like sets the standard, you know, like. You know, like she sings, everyone's listening, you know, like, you know, sometimes people are crying, whatever, you know, like she's just got it. And she was kind of an artist that I always thought, yeah, that's someone who I'd like to work with. And Kamikaze, again, when I started, he was already rapping when I started, like 15, 16 years ago. And he was young, but he was sick, you know, he was like one of Leicester's best MCs from a kid, you know, and he's just, there's not a bad song, there's not a bad bar, you know, he's just consistent with it, you know, like, so he was like a rapper that not only like I would want to work with, but that I would listen to, you know, like, so I've been listening to Kam's stuff, well, ever since I knew of him, and I was like, yeah, he's sick, you know, so, but the whole project was actually a bit of a special project as well, because my missus is a fashion designer and an art director. And this was like through COVID, you know, everything was locked down and, you know, like life was bleak, you know, but for us, we realized, we can still keep working in certain settings, you know, so we could still make videos. We were still allowed to work with vulnerable people. And because I was a mentor as well, I was kind of classed as like a key worker. So I decided, right, we're going to just do as much music as possible through lockdown. And
wow.
Yeah, so we made loads of music, and my missus basically loves Morgan as well. And she was like, I was like, basically, because it was a tough time for people, but we was also getting funded to be closed, I'll be honest. And I managed to give people jobs as well. So I gave Morgan a job as social media. And I was like, well, why are you not doing social media? We may as well make some music. So basically, she's already here. She's in the studio. So we decided to make an EP. We made loads of songs. And then we took the best few and we put them into an EP. And then my missus took that project as like a passion project and like storyboarded the whole thing. And then we did like 4 videos, which then we fused into a short movie. It's called If You Dare. Definitely check it out. I think it's about 11-12 minutes, but it's just a masterpiece, you know. So for us, it's another jewel in the crown, you know. Like we've done EPs, we've done singles, but now we've done like a audio visual EP, you know, like with our favorite producers, with favorite singers, favorite rappers, with our friends. We did the media, my missus made the outfits, we did all the locations. So for us, that's another one of, look at what we can do, you know, just a few people and an idea, you know what I mean? And it's sick.
That's where it starts. That's literally where it starts. And exactly. I love that you've every time it feels that you've come up with a challenge in some ways since you decided to lean into music. It's turned into just look what we can do and just pushing out and saying, well, you're already here. It's first convenience. You might as well do something. And 2, I don't want to just sit and look at you and whatever is going to happen. You put an idea in someone's head and you allow them to be able to have the resource around them to just say and go and do. And it's really really nice because I can see where people were saying, like your mom especially, being like, if you talk, people will listen and engage. And I think that is a skill set that a lot of people have a tough time doing, of being able to share things and connect in those ways and empower others to do those different pieces across whatever industry or whatever type of work that they're actually doing. And I love that you did that during COVID, during a time where everybody was going the opposite direction, just trying to get entertainment fed to them, consuming non-stop, when instead you wanted to give and like tell people to put more into it, because that was the thing that was going to help other people do those things. I mean, I guess you didn't need a master's degree in filmmaking in order to make a short film in certain ways.
Well, no, exactly. And like my missus had the vision, you know, like my mates, Conrad and Hubert, my media team, you know, like they have got the skills, you know. So we was just like, again, like, we've already done loads of stuff that was already sick. We're like, why can we make something of a little bit more story? You know, we want to make sure we're using drones. You know, like we want to get Morgan doing stuff she's never done. You know, so we got her dancing and brought choreographers in, and you know, just took it to a next level. You know, I remember watching the video for the first time, and I was just like, fucking hell, like it blew my mind. You know, I got goosebumps. I was like, this is top tier. You know what I mean? And I'll be honest, I feel like a lot of stuff we've put out over the years, you know, if someone else would have put it out with a better budget, it would have done really, really well, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, even though a lot of the stuff as we've put out has been slept on, maybe numbers wise, you know, like for me, that's fine, you know, because it can still pop off at a later date, but also for me, it's just about, if I'm proud of it and everyone else is proud of it and we'll put it out, you know, like that's good enough for me.
I love that. What drives you to do that consistently? Because that is out of your wheelhouse. Let's say in that moment you've just shared, like, you didn't know how to do those things. You had some mates that did pieces of those things, but what fuels you to invigorate that in other people's world, to say you're all coming together to do this thing, you got to do it now? What infuels that for you?
I think it's just because, like, I'm trying to do that for myself. So I'm like, okay, well, this is where I'm going. This is how I'm going to do it. And I've just got, I know obviously there's a never-ending line of people trying to get help, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just feel like I know a lot of people don't help. In fact, the complete opposite. A lot of people will just rip you off. A lot of people will take advantage of your desperation.
Yeah.
Or they'll tell you what you want to hear, or they'll, you know, and I think from learning as you go, you know, like, because I had it before where people, oh yeah, this is great, we're going to take you to LA, we're going to do this. And I remember, like, I used to get super gassed, you know, like what the artists do now, and I've had to develop a much thicker skin, you know, and take everything with a pinch of salt, you know. And then you hear all these stories and you realize, okay, like this is going to take a long time. But I think, again, you know, not having mentors or that kind of stuff when I was younger, it's kind of like, I feel like, well, maybe I can save a few people going down that road I went down. Not that I regret my road, because it's took me to here.
Sure.
But on the flip side, not everybody makes it back from that. Do you know what I mean? So for me, it's about, I just want to help people, I suppose, that I could see. It started off, like I say, very people who were like me, people off the estate, people who were ex-drug addicts, ex-offenders, mental health problems. But then it kind of, over the years, then got deeper. So then it's about, now it's not just about who you are or where you're from. Now it's about what do you want. So now it's, okay, so I want to put my city on the map. Okay, well, I want us to have music infrastructure. So now it's a bit deeper than a class issue or a place issue. It's actually just that, well, this is what we need to do, and if we're going to do it, the strength in numbers, you know. So even like now we're looking at Leicester. Everyone knows us in Leicester, but Leicester's still not big enough. Now we need to be looking at the Midlands, and we need to be looking national, then international. But it's about, I suppose, you know, kind of mastering and going through these ecosystems one by one until we can get where we're going. And I tell them, I'm like, look, some of you are going to come with me all the way. Some of you will use me as a springboard. Some of you are going to end up having, I don't know, kids, or, you know, you're going to end up having to take a job, you know. So, and we keep it really honest, you know, because in the beginning it was very much like, oh yeah, we're going to do it, you know, like, and it, again, so now it's that we have a little bit more realism with it, because we don't want to get people overly excited. So now we prepare them more, you know. So we're optimistic, but with a dose of realism in there. Do you know what I mean? Like, and not that it has to take 20 years, but it might do, you know. So we're preparing people now for this long thing where we're like, well, there's not much help, but we will give you the help we can. But I've kind of got a thing with people as well, where I help you a little bit more than I should, or than what anyone else would, but in return, pay that forward to someone else.
Yeah.
You know, and if we're all paying it forward a little bit, you know, like we ain't changing the world, but we're making our little bit a little bit happier, a little bit more palatable, you know what I mean? And it kind of helps to fight against the negative that we're constantly getting chucked at us.
You almost have mimicked, and I feel like the exact same wisdom in what he has shared so much. And you know wisdom, and he was our previous episode. And I think that just embodies who you both are, but what you're actually setting out to be, where has his community that he's focusing on, and that's where you are. And I've heard this recently from somebody who has said to me, what if we just focused on helping our community right on our streets? And that street doesn't have to be literally where you live right in that moment, but your streets that you've chosen to. And everybody was assigned to their streets that they needed to do that. No matter what industry or whatever background or whatever your experience is, if that was the only thing that you did, we would have a much better life.
Much better.
We'd have a much better world. People would care so much more, and more support would actually be invigorated in people's lives. And I think that you'd have much more of a challenging, like positive challenging environment instead of a disruptive, breaking things down environment. And I think that that's just emulates so much of, you could be moving to tons of other cities across the UK, across the world, to make the impact that you have with maybe some bigger budgets, some bigger opportunities with other artists and stuff like that. And maybe that is at some point going to be certain ways that you invest your time into. But for right now, it feels like the impact that you're making is just because you feel and know that you have to take care of this community. I'm putting words in your mouth, but from knowing you, that is your responsibility in a lot of ways to do those things. And I feel like if more people emulated what you're doing, we'd have a much better, first of all, music environment, where the realism is huge. It'd be great to sit down with an artist and say, yeah, let's go play Wembley tomorrow, and I'll just put you there. Let me just book you there. But the artist hadn't done actually the work to be able to get to those moments. And for you and the industry side of things, where you're supporting and connecting the dots between everyone, you just do over and over and over again. You just do and being like, I could do that, because you could do that better than someone else can, or no one else is stepping up to the plate to do those things. And I feel like for artists now, that is the difficulty. Creatives, that's the difficulty. And you sit down with artists every day and tell them real shit. But I guess for artists now, it's difficult navigation. If you had to put that into like one saying outside of the realism that they're not going to just work with you, but just in general, if anyone was connecting with you, what advice would you give them now in today's world? And if you had a conversation with them today, what would you say to them of how to build a career, how to facilitate an actual artist project that is sustainable?
So I always tell them first now is don't rush. Because what I find is people start making music, they get excited, and everybody loves creating music. Creating is the bit that we all love. That's the exciting bit, the creative bit, the fun bit. Promoting music is an actual ball ache, and most people hate it.
Yeah.
Unless they're marketers or they're being paid to do it. But anyone who's doing promo for free, generally they don't like it. They don't like promoting themselves. You know, obviously we're English. In England, people are a little bit like, they're a bit cringe, we're a bit humble. People don't like to shout about themselves and all that kind of stuff. So my advice is always, don't just put a song out because you think there's a few people waiting for it.
Yeah.
It's about thinking like a business before you start releasing. So get 10, 20 songs, you know, like pick all the best ones, you know, maybe get 6 to 10. Let's get a year uploaded.
Sure.
And you've already spent a year developing the content and all that kind of stuff. Because us included, in fact, this has been happening rinse and repeat my whole career, is we're putting stuff out, we're picking dates, and I'm sometimes, like, I'll be honest, I'm soft as shit, you know, so sometimes I know what we want to do, but the artists will kind of not bully me, but you know, like, they'll push it to the point where I'm like, well, look, it is your music. And I don't want to, you know what, when you force someone to do something and it don't go away, they can be like, oh well, that's your fault. okay, if I get, okay, well, you want this is what you want, I'm advising you not, but
Yeah.
you really want it, okay, but then you need the next song ready for this. And generally something will happen and you go off kilter and you'll miss a deadline because a master's late or the video's not back. So I'm telling everyone, just take more time, have more prep, be more patient, and then once you start, you don't have to stop, because you'll see, like, you can't gain momentum really if you stop, single now,
Yeah.
1 in 4 months. So I'm like, look, let's just get ready. Let's
Yeah.
not rush. And yeah, let's get the stuff behind, let's get the back stuff as well. Make sure you register your songs and
Yeah.
do your metadata, because generally the song's already out before anything's registered. You know, like the next single's not always ready. So
Yeah.
I think it's just, yeah, take more time. Don't rush into it.
Well, everyone else is so slow
Yeah.
to pick things up. Even if you're telling people, go listen to my song, go look on the back end. Your music may not even be registered for 3 months after
Yeah.
you submit it in. It takes forever to be able to hit the actual, unless you're trending, but people will know that because of getting pinged left and right, which is a good problem to have. But until then, you got to get your shit ready to go.
Yeah.
I love that, because what you've just said there, and I think there's a few artists that we're working with where you can see the ones who are just focused on the next thing. That's it. That's all they're focused on. And that's great to focus on those things. But if you're only going to turn the dial to the next bit after you finish each thing, and then you just do it and release it, do it, then release it, the start and stop bit is exhausting. Because if you're not working towards something bigger, or you're not working towards something where you feel that there's a bigger entity that hopefully you can go and connect with, or an audience that you can tell a longer story and your narrative consistently build, how are you going to build a business around that?
Yeah.
No one's going to buy into that if they're only seeing the thing that you can control. And I think it's a control mechanism that a lot of artists have. Then we work with another artist duo, and they had all of their stuff done well ahead of the campaign. I say 90% was done. Now all we're focusing on is pivoting.
Yeah.
That's it. It's like, great, now we can just pivot. Even though it's not hitting here, well, we're getting ready for the next one. Let's go hit it here.
Yeah.
Or maybe we need to invest just a little bit more cash here. Not that much, 50 quid. Let's put it that way instead of this way, because we're seeing much more of a growth on that perspective. The data's showing those things. I think it's just giving more of a chance to do well. And I always tell artists, which you've reminded me of they get to release the song to themselves first. And the reason why is because now you need to focus on promoting that to tell other people, because it's new to them. But you've been creating that the whole moment.
Yeah.
But why is it again called a release? It's for you to let go. It's for you to get that out there, because you shouldn't keep that as your own baby for forever, or else it'll never see the light of day and we'll never be able to actually get off of your chest to do other things. And I think that that's a really good reminder for me to be able to do that. Well, I want to move into the next track. This is actually the artist vocalist on here is someone you've shared with me you're really excited about, because he's a young kid. Seems like he's got a lot of good energy to him, Jake Thompson. And this is a song he's done with Unhollow called Silhouettes. What's up with this song that you feel like it's been a big thing for you?
So, like you say, Jake's an artist that I'm excited about anyway. He's come to me. He's been singing since he was 9. He's got a great voice, can play the guitar, can play his keys. He's the nicest kid in the world as well, which is, but he listens to what I say, he's following the plan and the strategy. And yes, we've got like a song a month for this year that we're going to release. We've got a 20-track album that we're starting to work on in the background for next year. And he's just great. He's just such a nice kid. And yeah, he kind of feels like one that, like, it's still really early, so like we're putting in with lots of different producers, and this song is a complete different genre to what he usually works in. But and the Unhollow, the producer, he's it's funny actually, because he's got another project called Hubs, which is kind of like Easy Life, well, Hard Life, kind of like a lo-fi hip-hop type of stuff that I really love. And I tried to sign him. Well, I tried to bring him in for that, but he came to me and he was like, oh yeah, I've got that, but I'm focusing on this Stutter House stuff at the minute. I was like, okay, but I put them in together and they made this track at HQ, and it's just a lovely track. It's just, again, it's one of them songs that I listen to it and I'm like, I could hear that in a top 40 or or on something big or on a TV program or whatever. And it's just a lovely haunting vocal. There's just like, yeah, this is just great. You know, like I think this was on my most played, like for a good few months. It was the track I was listening to the most, especially like in the gym and running and stuff like that. Not that I do that all the time.
Yeah, that's saying a lot. That's saying a lot, though, that you're listening to it over and over again and you put that all together.
Exactly.
Well, I hope everyone else enjoys. So this is Silhouettes on Hollow, Jake Thompson.
Silhouettes of a broken heart in a home, man, drifting away from the craziness. Tell me those secrets, come back and hold me, 'cause I wanna feel your love again. Tell me it's true, but follow what we've aligned. I'm waiting on you to give me a sign. I wanna feel the same. I want you to feel the pain, 'cause these nights are they haunt me. Guess I don't want it. I want you to feel the same. Love again. Silhouettes of a broken heart in a home, man, drifting away from the craziness. Tell me those secrets, come back and hold me, 'cause I wanna feel your love again. Tell me it's true, but follow what we've aligned. I'm waiting on you to give me a sign. I wanna feel the same. I want you to feel the pain, 'cause these nights are they haunt me. Guess I don't want it. I want you to feel the same. Your love again. I want you to feel the pain, 'cause these nights are they haunt me. Guess I don't want it. I want you to feel the same. Your love again.
I wanna be a fucking rock star, not a diva or a pop star. Flipping off at every cop car, turning heads everywhere I go. I don't really think you know. All my friends say that I'm about to blow, but I'm just here for the rock and roll. I wanna be a rock star, wanna be a rock star. I wanna live wild, it's a state of mind. It's a lifestyle that I crave every night. Fucking on a tour bus, have you heard us call star? 'Cause we haven't made it yet, but will we? Yeah, sure. MTV was the dream, but they can't play us at all, 'cause we're talking out of line and we're breaking all the rules. My manager's pissed 'cause we've emptied out the mini bar, but we'll pay it back when we move. I wanna be a fucking rock star, not a diva or a pop star. Flipping off at every cop car, turning heads everywhere I go. I don't really think you know. All my friends say that I'm about to blow, but I'm just here for the rock and roll. I wanna be a rock star, wanna be a rock star. 3 hours late for my sound check. Venue said they'd never have us back. Yeah, they sound vexed. Booking agent working up a fuss. That's a loud text. You are never coming back. A fan jumped on stage, let her sing in the mic. Then she came to the hotel to stay for the night. Then I woke up, she's gone with the keys to my bike. And there's something downstairs that just don't feel right. I wanna be a fucking rock star, not a diva or a pop star.
All right, so now we turn to the brother, Harry. That was a little different style of certain things.
Yeah.
Do they rock back and forth together, or they kind of pick their lanes and like that's the way that they do their own thing?
So he's the cousin.
Sorry, cousin.
Yeah. So yeah, Harry's kind of, this is his thing now. Like, so he's got a band now. He's had a band for a few years now. So he's kind of gone through a lot of different musical styles over the years. So when I met him, it was in a band called Tribal Riot, which was kind of like an electronic kind of band that was sick. But before that, it was kind of like a grime MC, and he was doing like open mics and kind of like open mic competitions and that type of stuff. But then I think when he came to the studio, he kind of, and his band had disbanded, he kind of started focusing on production and being a sound engineer. But then he started doing hooks for some of the artists on projects, and then he was kind of the hook man. And then he kind of had a bit of a reggae kind of style, kind of like Chronic's kind of vibe. But then he ended up moving in with his mate who's a guitarist, and he started doing a lot of stuff with him. And then his style just changed, and then he got a full band, and now it's kind of, there's still like little reggae influences here and there, and there's still rap influences, but it's very much kind of like indie pop, kind of punk rock, kind of different vibe now, you know what I mean? So that's kind of his... This particular track though, it's just a fucking banger, you know. As soon as I heard it, I was just like, yeah, just the guitars and the bass and that on it. I was like, this is filthy. I love it, you know. It's got a little bit of drum and bass influence in it. And there's a lad on one of our projects called Bridgesh, and he's been on our community project for probably about the last 5 years. And it's just his favorite. It's his safe place. He comes in, he makes drum and bass, and he just loves it. And sometimes he makes his own tunes, and sometimes he ends up working with Harry, making something for Harry. So this was basically made in the studio as part of a community project, but it was that good. Harry's took it and put it on his EP and stuff. So it's I feel like I suppose the thing why I've chose that is because I love the fact, you know, again, of the community music project and the label, you know, like actually really working together. And, you know, and again, for someone on that community project, for him having a credit on a song that's out on a label, you know, he would have never expected that, you know. So he loves it, you know. He was so gassed, you know. He was, oh, yeah, you know, like, so for me, it was just so nice to see, like, it just ticks all the boxes for me, you know. That's feel good stuff, you know what I mean? So I like that.
I mean, I love that. It is like community is so integrated into your worlds. And I love the fact that everyone has different expectations all the time, and they get blown out of the water by just being able to connect the dots into what actually is doing, because your vision consistently just keeps getting higher and higher for them to be able to push the needle, where you just want to be credited to be able to be on the song. And that actually is now in an artist project where Harry's actually took that as his baby of something to really get out there, and probably he's put a lot of effort into putting that craft together of that project. So feel that connection between the two of them with no expectation when they made it. There was no like, I need to make a song for my EP, I need to make this, and you're going to be the guy that's going to do these things, so we got to figure something out. It was very much just like live in the moment, and when you get creatives that really are creative, you never know what can make happen.
Exactly. And that's generally that's how we like every session to be, you know. Like, there's never a thing where it's like, right, go in and make a hit, you know. It's like, okay, let's try you and you today, let's you and you go in, you know. So we really want it to be organic and authentic, you know, because I think, you know, when you try too hard, and I think it really happened to a lot of people trying to make TikTok music, and you know, which might work for a couple of people, but then I think for a lot of people, they realize after the fact, actually, I'm watering down my art and my craft by you know, trying to work to someone's formula to try and, you know, don't get me wrong, we have certain formulas where we're trying to say, for commercial tracks, let's keep them, I don't know, 3.5 minutes or less, for instance.
Sure.
But we're not telling anybody like, make meme. And I'll be honest, this is the depressing thing about certain people in the music industry. They will, and I've been told by quite a senior A&R before, if you want to be successful, just create meme-like lyrics that a 3-year-old will listen to once and then be able to repeat back to you. And I was like, I ain't going back to my artists and say, go and make some meme-like songs. I'm like, you know what, I'd rather it take way longer. I'd rather it, you know, like I'd rather it not even be as successful if it only means we've got to compromise to the point of we're only going to do this because of that. Do you know what I mean? And so for me, I'm a big believer of it. You know, like you've got to work in a way that you can retain your self-respect and your, you know, like, and you ain't going to feel cringy explaining to someone why you made this. I don't know, it could be anything, but you know what I mean? Just something, just because it's a trend or just because so-and-so done it. And there must be certain people who look back at certain tracks and videos and stuff they've done and be like, oh shit, why did I do that? Do you know what I mean? And it's obviously because people are so desperate for success, you know, but again, success is it's a broad spectrum, right?
Totally. Because then you become that guy or that person that's known for that thing. And some of it's funny, some of it works, some of it's talent in whatever way, but the great majority of it is not. And then it's, in some ways, people get embarrassed, but some ways it's not. There was a moment I was talking to one of the artists that I work with. He's had a band, he's done his solo artist project for a little while. And I sat with him one day and he was having a real big struggle getting to the next project and like getting that one over the line. And he was having a struggle with just finishing the singles, just finishing the songs. Let's just get the tracks done so that you feel, and he was overcomplicating this, that, and the other. And I said to him one day, because it dawned on me, I said, is the reason why you're taking so long because you feel like these next 3 projects that we've discussed is your life's work, and when you've completed that life's work, you're going to be done, and you don't want to finish. You don't want to be done. And we keep talking about left and right. He was coming up with this TikTok thing and that TikTok thing and inserting these 2 songs that didn't really make any sense, but just because he wanted to do those. And actually, they were nice. Like, he does good music in general. But it kept coming up to me over and over again in the fact of, there's a reason why creatives sometimes get in their own way, because they see the end of whatever they can see and they just don't want it to end. So instead of just thinking about, no, that's just the completion of the next chapter, the next moment of what I can see, but there's going to be more, and they prevent themselves by doing those things. And I think you've just reminded me of that while talking about that moment of stuff, of like talking about Harry and just finishing that project, or artists that are coming to you and connecting in that community of things that maybe they stop themselves because they may think it's over at the end of it. And if it's their lifestyle that they want to do this forever, when they're 60, 70, 80 years old, they're preventing themselves by stopping by doing it at 30 because they can't see past that, when in reality it's a long life if you start young in certain ways.
Yeah, and I think some of that goes back to, like, it's probably a bit outdated now, but, you know, back to that old thing of you've got to make it before you're, you know, so I think a lot of people, they think there's this timeline, and if I've not made it by then, and don't get me wrong, there is an element of that, but it's not the same as it was 20 years ago, you know, where everyone had to be under 25 or whatever. In fact, if anything, you know, I think society is older now. People live longer, people live at home longer, you know, like, say a lot of people moving out at 30 now, where they used to move out at 18 and whatever, you know. So I think it's changed, and obviously people look better for longer as well now. which
moisturizing.
But I know I've got some artists that start getting twitchy if they get to 27, 28, you know, like, oh, and I'm like, look, it don't matter, it's just numbers, you know what I mean? But you're right, I think, like, again, the thing I probably say more than anything else, and it's cliche, but you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. You know, and it don't matter how talented you are, it don't matter how good your songs are. You know, like, if your mindset, your work ethic, or your personality get in the way, or there's a lot of self-sabotage for sure. And I think, again, you know, we can only do what we can do, you know. So, and it's for some artists, it can hurt you sometimes, you know. You feel like it can be a bit, you know, you've got an artist, you know, I can get you signed if you listen to this, or I can get you this, but you've just got to follow this plan. And then they don't follow it, and then you see, and it's, again, you know, I can take you there, I can tell you what to say, but then if you don't say it, and you can walk into an A&R room, you could go and see the president of Columbia Records, and it can go from, you're there to get signed to, oh, we'll come and see you perform really quick if you don't give if you don't tell them what they want to hear. Do you know what I mean? Because now this is business, right? So it's like they're only going to buy into you if you're fully trained. They know, right, for the next few years, this is what you're going to do. You're going to give us these products and we're going to make money, you know what I mean? So, but again, we can't do it for them. So then it's just not the right time or the right place. So you just learn from it. And again, you just, sometimes, and again, in the beginning, you know, because I was the same as the artist in the beginning where everything is the next big thing. You know, and then, like I say, first ever EP, we got people from Sony calling us, you know, second EP, bam, like Ditto's record label of the month, you know, like all this stuff's happening and we're like getting a bit, oh yeah, well, this is easy. Like, we'll clock this time next year, though. This time next year, Rod, man. But obviously, it's the reality of it is then, and when you further down the line, you realise usually even when people are looking, they're going to watch you for a few years. You might go on a watch list. Then they're going to come to your gigs. It's not like, oh, we're watching you, can have a meeting, here's your deal. It's like, oh, okay, you're on the radar. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, you've got to have thick skin and you've got to have years to be able to work at it for sure.
You want to choose if you want to work with them or not. And I think you have to do the work in order for that to happen. If you don't do the work to get to that moment where you become a professional and your professionalism becomes something where you can actually leverage the work that you're doing into a product, but it is your way of doing that because of your team that you've connected with and support you in those ways, then you can choose if you want to go work with Sony or you want to go work with that record label or this, that, and this, whatever it is. But it takes the confidence of knowing that I don't need you. I'm already doing those things, but actually I need to take my craft to this level. You're the way to do that, but this is the deal now. Because if the company comes in and takes that away from you, what are you going to do? You're going to lose everything and then actually become the fake piece that we talked about earlier of like not actually the thing that you're going to, is your dream, is your goal that you want to achieve. It's going to be taken away from you based off of what that person wants in their business plan. And their business plan is usually you as a product. Yeah.
And that's again, something that I think obviously the music business is changed now more than ever. And I think there's never been a time where probably less people want to dream of the major deal like before, you know, that was everybody's dream.
Totally.
Well, I feel like now most people are dreaming of sustainability first and foremost. They still want the big shows and you know. So again, for us, you know, like that used to be quite a high thing on the list, right? We want to get to the point where we can get someone signed, whereas now we're like, we know by the time someone wants to sign them, we're not going to need that deal because, well, what's the point? If we've got that many streams that now you're interested, well, we can do it without you. And if it was going to be a thing, it would realistically be if we needed to do something global. You know, like realistically, that's again just to add value and just to pour petrol on what we've built. But again,
the goals are different. The goals,
it would have to be again for us. It knowing what we know, seeing everyone else how things have gone. It would have to be the right deal, structured in the right way. You know, so that we don't get burnt. You know, that we don't go into a deal that we wish they wouldn't have gone in, or you're tied in for years. So when that day comes, we'll know. But yeah, it will definitely be. It's not the main thing at all anymore.
Well, I think it starts with how you start. Sometimes, and if you have the good foundation, you never know where it can go. I'm going to move on to our next song. Our next song is called Borderline, and it's with a band called Parlay, and they are 4 guys that met working at the Troubadour in West London. Gig venue that's like 100 capacity downstairs, and they just started working the restaurant, the bar, all that stuff, and they all made music, and they wanted to all make something else happen. 1 guy's from the US, 2 guys are from England that went to school together, hadn't seen each other in a while, and the other guy's from Australia. And they met in London at this pub, and they said, well, maybe we can make a little band out of this. And I think that foundation was so cemented in them early on, is that this place was really important to them because they all chose to be there. And I think that if you consistently keep redefining what that means to you, but that is the congruent piece that keeps everyone together, I think the sky's the limit in so many ways. So
it's a cool story.
Pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty good. And they're just so new in their journey. So I'm really excited to see where they go from there. So this is their song Borderline, and the band is Parlay. Enjoy.
said you'd be a megastar all along. My line on the water, split by the border of concrete. I've cast no light. If you wanna, you can meet me at the borderlines all alone. Meet me at the borderline, 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 borderline. Meet me at the borderline, 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 borderline.
All my days are questions, and you're thinking I might be your question. Then you give me answers, think of all the answers, thinking that I might be your answer. Then you give me questions, think of all the questions, then you're thinking I might be your question. Then you give me answers, think of all the answers, then you're thinking I might be your answer.
I've seen you in the morning, lurking round the bottom of my bed. I've heard you spreading rumors, putting thoughts in everybody's head. I've watched your game of whispers, twisting every word that has been said. And I hate you and the way you turn every good thing into a mess. You're fucking with my head and taking all my breath. And I've got nothing left. I'm stuck in self-defense against myself. I know myself the best. Stop messing with my, playing with my, fucking with my head. Well, I seen you in the evening, rubbing salt in wounds that you create. I've heard you in the distance, mocking me for all of my mistakes. I feel you on my shoulder every single second of the day. And I hate you, cause I gave you everything you need to make me break. You're fucking with my head and taking all my breath. I've got nothing left. I'm stuck in self-defense against myself. I know myself the best. Stop messing with my, playing with my, fucking with my head. Just give it a rest, give me a break, give me some hope. Take all the weight off of my chest and out of my home. Stop taking my breath, get out of my head and leave me alone. With my head and taking all my breath. and I've got nothing left. I'm stuck in self-defense against myself. I know myself the best. Stop messing with my, playing with my, fucking with my head. I'm taking all my breath, and I've got nothing left. I'm stuck in self-defense against myself. I know myself the best. Stop messing with my, playing with my, fucking with my head.
All right, that was Fletcher's new song, Fucking With My Head. This came from recommended from our team, highly recommended. Big fan, and actually discovered these guys a handful of years ago through just Spotify, Discover Weekly. And it's really interesting when you see a band that only has like 2 tracks out there, and you start seeing some of those tracks really take off, and you're like, whoa, how did this happen? And then you're like, are they ready for this? But yet you see them year after year at different showcases, different events that are happening, and you go, okay, I see what was happening there. They do have some extra fuel in the fire kind of thing, helping them out with Universal backing them or another major label backing them in that way. But these guys definitely feel like they have a lot of really good songs. There's a lot of energy and emotion with what they're doing, and they always deliver every which way. So they just released a song recently, and had a little party, like, you know, that the kids now, it's like everyone's like, can we do a single party? Because it's so anticlimactic when you release a song sometimes. Yeah. It's like, what do you do unless you're on tour, unless you're doing a show or you're doing a pop-up or anything? It's like, what do we do? It's kind of boring. So that was them, and I heard the show went really well, and it was nice and intimate for all their fans and stuff. So it's nice to give free opportunities for some of the people to engage. But we have one more track left before we give up and end our conversation today. You consistently are in circles because you see rapid change always happening. You've said that earlier, and I feel like I try to show up as much as possible because I want to know who the players are in the game, but also I want to show up and show that like the work that I'm doing is important. And I feel like every time you're around, doesn't matter what level is at or who's in the vicinity, you show up all the time because you want to be able to represent but show all the good shit that is going on in your community. I always get that from you, and you're surrounded by people who are always like leveling you up, pushing you up, saying you are someone that they look up to in a lot of ways. As someone who may be starting out, or someone who's changing their career, or someone who wants to work in the industry, or someone wants to just understand what a next step should be, what is something that you can cultivate, that you share in your community, that you've learned your lesson over that time, that people can always think about whenever they're shifting gears or trying something new, or they've never tried it before, and this is a big leap of faith?
I think I'll go back to kind of like, there's 2 things, and that they're both kind of entwined. But first thing I always go back to is your mindset. You know, like, is this what you really want to do? You know, so like getting in that right mindset of what you're gonna do and what it's gonna take. You know, and I think the other thing is about like really remaining authentic. You know, because I think a lot of people, they try and change themselves for certain things, or they try and fit into a box. And I feel like people a lot of the time lose what makes them special. Yeah. You know, so for me, it's kind of like, you know, like, is it your passion? And do you enjoy it? And okay, if this is the only thing, because it's not realistically something you just tell anybody, like, oh don't give up on normal life, go and try and become an artist. It's like, so if you're trying to be an artist and you really want to do it, then that means basically there's something wrong with you. Because you're about to go on this crazy journey which is most people are going to be unsuccessful on. But if you're going to have if you're going to have a go, and I think you should, if that's what you think, you know, like, actually, you know, be authentic, you know, and don't be a dick, you know, because this is people business, you know, like, and there's going to be a lot of years of struggle. So we've got to be friendly. We've got to be happy. We've got to support each other, because we're already swimming against the tide. We're already going up against big business. We're going up against, you know, trying to get in rooms that maybe weren't built for us, you know. So I kind of feel like you've just got to enjoy it, enjoy the process, trust the process. But if you don't believe in yourself as well, then it won't happen, you know. So I think that's like knowing from where I've come to where I am now. I feel like that's the biggest things I've had to overcome, which is the imposter syndrome, the, you know, like the can I do it, you know, like, and actually just being like, no, this is what I'm doing, this is how I'm doing it. And again, that all goes with like the power of language, you know, like when you tell people this is where I'm going, this is how I'm doing it, people will take it on and be like, okay, yeah, that sounds exciting.
Yeah.
You know, well, maybe I'm going to try and do that. And it's like you can talk yourself out of the opportunity before it's even offered, you know what I mean?
So true.
So that's what I tell all my artists. Be authentic, enjoy it, and just have a strategy, you know, make a plan and go at it.
That confidence to be able to own those things, and you don't actually have to know what you're doing. You just need to have that confidence and knowing that you're doing this thing. I love it. I agree in so many ways. And I think no matter where you are in the world, no matter what tools you have or the people that surround yourself, if you have that mentality, you'll find a way. That's, I think, just humanity and what we do as people. We always find ways to get ahead. We always try to find ways to make it happen because we want to grow. We want to find ways to do that.
100%. And the other thing is, you realise there's a lot of people, there's a lot of smoke and mirrors, and there's a lot of people you look at and you think, oh shit, you're smashing it, and then you find out, oh no, actually you just got a job for someone and you're doing what you're told, and then you could lose that job. So actually there might not, people have sometimes positioned themselves as a position of power, but it's not actually as powerful as it looks, you know. So it's like you've actually really, I feel like there's a lot more power within the artists, within the grassroots, within the indie labels and management than what we actually realise. And I feel like that's why the collaboration stuff is cool, and meeting people and building community, because everything big and good comes out of community, right? You know, but communities are getting, you know, it's getting harder and harder to find communities because, you know, there's potentially less places, there's less money, there's more stress, and there's so much stuff online, people forget about the real world stuff sometimes. And I think they can just do it all from the bedroom, which there's a tiny percentage of people that can do, you know, but it's not generally the dream that most people set out is to, you know what I mean?
Make my music in my bedroom. That's not what it is.
Like you say, most people, they're thinking Wembley, they're thinking of, you know, like about getting that message out there. Something usually a little bit deeper than, you know, like just making money, you know. And if you're only going into it for the money, then you're barking up the wrong tree. Yeah,
it comes with it. You're waiting for your million to come soon.
It's coming. It's on the way.
That's when I'm going to stay friends with you, so we can go and do more things together.
You're getting there as well, bro. And I can, you know, like you said, same way. Like I see you in places, and I know from talking to you, you do good. This is someone who values artists, who values people, who values relationships. You know, so again, for me, like, you're someone I would want to work with. You're someone I want to work with, you know, and we'll do bits now because we've come together enough times, and that's again what it is. We meet up, we have a beer, there's no bullshit, there's no salesman stuff, we're just talking. What are you up to? Oh, you've got, and again, when there's a right time, and sometimes it's 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, you never know where business might come. And it might never come, but, you know, it's important to, like, I suppose, have these relationships, you know, with different people in other places. It stops it being so lonely, makes you realise we're all kind of dealing with the same issues, you know, but also then when someone finds some answers to some of the problems, you know what I mean, we can share that. Oh, tried that, and that's what I realised. The indie community is that there is people who will help you, there's people who will mentor you, there's people who will tell you stuff, there's people who will give you their release strategy, you know, it's not, you know, people talk about gatekeepers, but the gatekeepers, you don't really see that in the indie world. You know, that's obviously the industry, you know.
It's true. That's the majority. That's actually the majority of people. Maybe they're not making the majority amount of money, but that is the majority amount of people. It's staying in the game. I think it's just staying in the game for the long haul, because that's the thing that's going to get you at some point. Is like one day it will tick. And I love that you're building infrastructure now to be able to just be ready for those things, so you can just shift into and be agile in all those different places. You're somebody that I look up to, even though we don't actually spend that much time together, just because of your ethos and how you display things, not just in your community, but how that echoes into so many different places. People respect you all the time. Whenever you're in a room, I see that on a regular basis. And I just think like you being here and sharing that wisdom is pieces that you emulate on a daily basis. There's not many people out there that are consistently doing that with their heart, doing that. They say these things, but not doing it. And I think that you endlessly do that. So I appreciate you very much. And I'm glad that you're here.
Thank you, bro. That means a lot, honestly.
I'm glad. Really glad. Well, Yasin, thank you so much. We're going to have our last song out here. It's called Season High by one of my, honestly, a favorite person of mine. He's from Birmingham originally. He is coming out with a new project later this year. And this is one of the songs that's going to be in the slow rollout coming out. It's called Season High. Please enjoy.